On today's show,
What's up?
Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. Does Jhoan Duran have the greatest closer entrance in all of baseball?
Jhoan.
And who's got the worst?
Well,
the Pac12 baseball tournament starts on Tuesday.
it does. It's the last
It's going
one.
to take home the very final Pac12 championship.
Ooh.
And finally, what's in a name?
Tired of the sensationalized sports takes? Fed up with the same old rundown? Forget that. Welcome to Balls Out with Shane Wickes and Ophny Escalante. We're peeling back the layers of the game to explore the untold stories, emerging trends, and influential personalities that are reshaping sports, bringing you bold, in-depth analysis with a splash of West Coast flair. It's time to shake things up. Let's go Balls Out.
What is in a name? And speaking of names, I'm Ophny Escalante.
I'm Shane.
This is
Balls Out.
Balls Out. What about that name?
We'll get to that. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is still morning.
It is still morning.
Happy Sunday.
It's been an eventful morning for me. So you laid this out for us, Shane. We are going to talk about that the swimsuit issue came out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, the SI Sports Illustrated.
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton is on the cover.
I believe she is one of the covers.
Oh, she's one of them. Yeah.
Because they release several, don't they?
Do they?
Yeah, because they have them all in like their ball gowns.
Right.
And then obviously the more traditional swimsuit.
I told you that I grew up in a home where the father was a minister and everything that I did was a sin. You know, I mean, the God was a God to be feared.
Yeah.
And that God, it felt like when I was a kid, like that God was just waiting for me to screw up. You know, that's how it felt a lot of the time. So this was a sin. Like even thinking about this or looking at this or wanting to look at it was something that was completely off, should have been off my radar. And it was confusing, right? Like, why would people put it out there if I'm not supposed to, like, you know? And then in retrospect, I mean, this is nothing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember this and I remember getting it and I remember it used to come in the mail when I was in college and we used to look forward to it. It was kind of
really big deal.
It was a big deal. And I think I always wondered, you know, let's go back to 1979. I think it is. Christy Brinkley on the cover. Well, she was the it girl. She was on every commercial. She was in the movie with Chevy Chase, Vacation, right? Holiday Road. She's the girl with the Lamborghini or Ferrari. I can't remember. I think it was a Ferrari. But she was also the subject and inspiration for Billy Joel's really famous song, which let's call that the song of the day today, is Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. I think that song came out in the 80s and they were the it couple back then. The it couple, think Giselle and Tom, but the 80s version of the two, right? Big time, world renowned, who actually Billy Joel ran his car into the front of someone's house drunk. Did you know that story?
I did not know.
He's had some issues with his inability to not drink as much as he should. Back to Christy Brinkley, big ups Christy Brinkley. And do you know who was on the cover last year?
Martha Stewart.
Martha freaking Stewart. Put a freaking on that one, right? Like, and she looks fabulous.
Yeah.
Right? Sure, there's some touch up. She looks great. And, you know, you got your usual suspects. I mean, let's go through this through the years, right? Kate Upton, Tyra Banks, Brooklyn Decker. There's Christy Brinkley in 1980. Look at her.
They give you a list of
Elle McPherson is
number of appearances
they do.
That they've made by model.
There's Tyra again.
This year's Sports Illustrated edition.
Big ups to Kate Upton and all the other models who get on the cover. I'd like to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Maybe this podcast will make it. Imagine our logo on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Do they even make that magazine in print anymore? Do we know? Does anybody know?
You know, they got purchased recently, and by recently I mean like within the last year they got bought up.
I actually know a young man that went to school in the area who went to work for Sports Illustrated.
Christy Brinkley has been in Sports Illustrated 11 times.
There you go. Dating back to 1979. That's not average. Look at her. Is that her now? Fabulous. Looks great. Look at her. The Pac-12 tournament starts this week.
Will not be in 60-degree weather.
Will not be in 60-degree weather. Well, that's probably about 73, 74.
You
I'll
think
probably
that's
get out.
it?
Yeah. Well, it was actually a little bit warmer this weekend.
I was going to say, I saw some heat warnings going out, and now that was in Texas.
Well, yeah, in Texas. Everything's hotter in Texas, isn't it?
Well, shit. Arizona,
Well,
that's...
Hey, thank you, Arizona. U of A, University of Arizona. Bear down. Let's go. Ready? Teddy Bruschi, Gronkowski. Let's go, Steve Kerr. Who else can I give you? Let's go, Sean Elliott. Let's go, Tom Tolbert. Shout out KNBR. The list goes on. University of Arizona baseball team is ranked number 1 going into the Pac-12 tournament, which starts Tuesday in Scottsdale at Scottsdale Stadium. Scottsdale Stadium is the stadium where the San Francisco Giants train in the spring. It's a beautiful stadium. And Shane, I've actually been to the stadium in Reno. That's across from the casino, and you know it very well.
Yeah,
What's it called? The Aces play.
Aces Ballpark.
And they are the,
I don't know if they...
what are they? The triple
AAA affiliate of the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. So that stadium is very similar to the one in Scottsdale.
It is a great little stadium.
Yeah, it's cozy. It got an old-timey feel to it. They got kind of old-timey scoreboards. The best thing about that stadium in Scottsdale, I've never been to the one inside, the one in Reno, I just saw it from the outside, is that the worst seat in that stadium is one of the best seats at Oracle Park. Have you been to spring training at all, anywhere?
I have not.
It's magical. I mean, I hate that sound corny, but it's magical. I mean, the players are there, the weather, if you're a drinker, which I was for many, many years, that was a lot of beers, a lot of sunshine, a lot of everything that comes with that, and we'll get into that at some point. But yeah, beautiful stadium, and that's where they'll be playing. And our local team, University of Arizona, bear down, number 1 seed. The local boys, Stanford, ranked number 8. They will be playing Arizona State on Tuesday, May 21st. And they're in pool play through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday are the semifinals. So get out there. It's going to be a great event. It always is over there. Sunken Diamond, beautiful, beautiful stadium.
They're in.
I'm sorry. What am I talking about? I'm talking about they're in Scottsdale. Get out to Scottsdale. That's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. Yeah, don't go to Stanford this week.
The MLB has gone full NBA. With the music and the lights and the pageantry and the showmanship. But I will say that Jhoan Duran's closer entrance for the Twins is maybe the coolest thing I've ever seen on a baseball field. I've been so disappointed with the Giants that I honestly had not been watching that much baseball.
Giants are killing the Rockies, by the way, this weekend.
That's great. I think my upset with Giants goes a little deeper than just their current record. But yeah, they have played a good series against the Rockies. Who's the center fielder who's just on a tear?
He made that grab, Ramos. He made the most spectacular catch.
Well, and then he had 8 RBIs in that game or something. I mean, he actually broke a record.
Final yesterday from Oracle Park, Rockies 4, Giants 14.
14. Okay.
That's an offensive explosion. I mean, I didn't see it. I actually had the opportunity to go, but I couldn't make it.
I think part of the numbers that you see reflected in Major League Baseball today is that the pitch clock has really benefited the offenses. And when things start to get away, they get away in a real big hurry. I can't tell you how many times I've turned on the TV, and especially in that series against the Phillies, it felt like whiplash. The Giants giving up so many runs in the first inning or two.
That was not good.
You were dizzy from watching them round the bases.
So I've been to a few games at the pitch clock. I was out of there in 2 hours. And I don't know if I like that or didn't like it, but that's a fact, man. And it feels good. It doesn't feel bad. And you can't take your eyes out the field. You have to be watching if you want. I mean, you could turn around and start talking to somebody, look up, then back in the day you could, but it's rapid fire. And I like it. I actually
met a fellow college football coach in the stands at that clinching game in 2022. Was that the year that the Giants won 107 or whatever it was?
4.
Well, they won more than the Dodgers did.
No, didn't the Dodgers win more than the Giants? 106. They won 106 that year. So they finished 106 and 56, 2021. So they won 2 more than the Dodgers. Sorry, than the Giants did that year.
Okay.
Which is why, I remember that because it's like
Well, they are.
Dodgers
I'm
have
so
to win
confused.
106. The year we win 104, they win 106, really? And then they beat us. Well, they beat the Giants, I should say. Today is May 19th, 2024. Malcolm X was born on this day in 1925. How about
I would
that?
have been 99 years old.
And also Sam Smith's birthday today. I happen to like Sam Smith.
Yep.
Yeah. He sings the song, is it called Crazy? You say I'm crazy. You don't know you've done. That one. No, this microphone.
I'm not the only one.
No, not the only one. That guy. It's his birthday today. Great voice, great catalog. If you don't know who he is, check him out. The guy's voice is
Oh, it's amazing.
Jhoan Duran's El Incomprendido bullpen entrance. What do we call this? What do we call it? The entrance. They have the entrance presentation. The entrance.
It's like it's almost like WWE style.
Like it really
Here comes
is.
the music.
And
We're just missing pyro.
you've not seen it live, right?
No, I have not seen it live. I've only seen the videos.
I did finally hear that song El Incomprendido. It's a
It's a
groove.
banger.
It's a vibe. Yeah. It's a vibe for sure. So, and I haven't seen Jhoan Duran's entire deal, but does he do anything? Does he do a little spin move or?
No, it just really kind of runs out. But he's yoked as fuck. So
Yeah, big
it
guy.
looks impressive.
And I saw part of it. And then we have one here, which is Camilo Duvall's, and I hadn't seen it until recently. And thank God I haven't seen it live. When I first watched that, and it's NBC Sports watermarked Bay Area, I thought somebody had dubbed some BS over his actual entrance music, and it turns out that they did not. That is his actual entrance music. And it sucks. I got the YouTube pulled up. If you haven't seen it, go. And these people, this lady says, I'm at the game and I'm so glad I got to see it for my very first time. Okay, here's a good one. Song does nothing to intimidate anyone.
Thank
But
you.
That's what he likes.
Click like for that. We like that comment.
All right.
Great. Well, no, actually, unlike it.
Yeah.
I changed my mind.
Me too.
Don't dislike it. I just said
okay.
unpush the like
All
button.
right.
I don't know how anybody thinks that's.
I don't even know what to say. It's dumb. It's
Ooh.
okay. How about this part? You have this grand entrance, Mike Jhoan, and a lot of them are doing it. The big banging, loud, and we're vibing, and we're up 4-1, and then he loads the bases and gives up a bomb, and you lose the game. What then? Are you doing to celebrate? You could allow the other team to do a light show because they shoved it up your butt.
Easter.
Yeah, is that?
Oh shit.
I mean, I think it's also. You imagine being the opposing
I
team.
mean, here's the deal. We've so far moved into the market of professional sports just being solely entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's solely an entertainment product. Baseball thinks that this is the way to, attract a younger audience and or, more viewership. I don't know if it's working. I mean, I know that it's working in terms of the game times are down. All of that stuff for sure is working. But is that increasing viewership? I don't know. I haven't seen those numbers. I can kind of see how this was maybe inevitable. I mean, how many stadiums now have the lights
Yeah.
in the
That was
stadium
my
go
question.
crazy when you hit a home run, right? Yankee Stadium's had that for a long time, I think.
Yankees have. I didn't know that.
Yankee Stadium,
I went to Yankee Stadium for the first time last summer. It's
concrete jungle.
underwhelming.
Concrete jungle.
It's in the middle of the Bronx, and there's really nothing there. And you can't see inside the park from the outside. And
No.
you get in, and it's Yankee Stadium. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the old Yankee Stadium, right? And I never went to that one, but that seemed. And then everything you want to see at Yankee Stadium, there's a 3-hour wait. So if you want to see it, you're going to miss the entire game, which is why we're really there, right? So whatever. I went there so I can check that one off. And I also went to Fenway, and that was a fantastic experience.
I got to see Fenway as well.
Fenway is beautiful. Boston is just Harvard. I mean, that whole area. I would move there. We should move our podcast there. We were talking about names earlier and the importance of names. And I heard somebody say one time that a name is just something that you respond to, right? That's all it is. I think it was Gabe from The Office. You know that weirdo? A name is just something that people use to get your attention. That's all it is. So you could be shithead or Ophny, right? If my name were shithead, I would turn around.
Call me both of those interchangeably.
Yeah, that was like my middle name. Yeah.
He's a good man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fathers always are. I think somewhere deep down inside, fathers are all good men. But names, we struggled. We brainstormed. We actually had a lot of options for the podcast name, and you dropped this one. And at first I was shocked and offended and appalled that you would even want to put that as a name. And then I thought, whoa, that's exactly the reaction I want from anybody who ever looks at it, right? And not that I was so much appalled, but you want that innuendo. I mean, it's genius. What are we talking about? Sports. And for most, I'm going to say 70% of all sports, you need a ball. I mean, curling? Yeah. Lacrosse. I don't know. Lacrosse has a ball. Badminton. The birdie could be a ball, maybe. I don't know. Rowing. All water sports, right? Except water polo. Water polo has a ball. Anyways, and balls out. And I think that when I first read it, I thought that the innuendo, the entendre is genius because, obviously balls out is a statement. People use it on a regular basis, and I don't think it's really all that offensive because when you're going balls out, what are you doing? You're giving it your all, right? You're putting yourself out there. You are going beyond your limits. You're pushing yourself, or you're pushing an issue, or you're pushing an idea. Or a topic, right? And you're going balls out, whether you're working out on the football field, working out in the gym, whether you're working out in a classroom, intellectually, you want to go balls out. And we're hoping that we get there to a point where that's exactly what this podcast is that we are no holds barred, and that we bring you something that is exciting and engaging. And if you like it, give us a like and follow us on YouTube and check us out on TikTok. And we are on Instagram as well. But balls out, Shane, give me your process. What, how, and when you landed on it, what were your thoughts initially?
I was having a conversation with the AI writing assistant.
Yeah.
It spat out the balls out with the two of us.
Genius.
And it actually made me laugh because I think it was like maybe the day or so before that we had a conversation about an incident in a locker room where an individual
did exactly that.
Did exactly that, and we won't go into details right now. And then today you said you were watching the Patriots documentary, and they were talking about Aaron Hernandez, and so it does very much and very specifically have some double meaning to it, and I don't think it's ever been much of a secret that I don't, or at least I try to be as honest as possible without being harmful with the truth, because I do think that there are obviously instances where, the truth can be very detrimental.
As long as it doesn't harm others, right? You or others, is that the...
Yeah, right. Do no harm, take no shit.
Yeah.
It's a fine balance to walk.
It's a fine line. Yeah, I agree.
But it does lead to a larger conversation, which is what is acceptable behavior when you're in a leadership position, when you're responsible for motivating people. How you motivate people? What's the difference between motivating someone and motivating them by threatening with embarrassment, like being motivated by fear versus being motivated by desire and passion, like are two substantially different operating and energy systems. One's going to run out a whole lot quicker than the other. One's a lot more braille and fragile. and doesn't stand up very well to scrutiny. But so often, and based purely, upon a conversation that you and I had, so often the perception of these things is, even amongst, I think really logical, well-meaning people, so skewed. And I'm really, more than anything, I think I'm deeply curious into diving into why that is.
Well, and we can scale it back too, right? I mean, we're talking specifically about motivation and how, and even more specifically than that, it happens on a football field, right? I mean, you were on many football fields. I've been on many football fields. We both know coaches. You are a coach. You were a player. You understand the type of motivation you see, and you see what you see, and you hear what you hear. We know of one instance where that went too far, and we live in a different time now, where college students now they came up in a different age, and that sounds redundant. I'm just the old man sitting on my porch saying, hey, you kids, but kids are so much more informed now, right? I mean, you talk about a woke generation, and then the way that coaches used to speak to players on the football field is no longer acceptable. Whereas some of these things that are egregious now, nobody blinked an eye at, maybe even 20 years ago, right? 30 years ago, which I can't put any words on it, but I think players, especially college players, even pro players, because they're young, I mean, they're in their 20s, they're more sensitive, they're more in touch with their identities. I mean, I don't know. The topic is broad, but there's an instance where kids were fed up and they went and took action, and there was a real serious consequence because of this type of motivation that was once okay and no longer is.
It's curious to me how it really ever passed as motivation, though.
I agree. And then there's, can sexual assault ever be considered motivation? I mean, you're getting into some very gray area there, right? What actually is sexual assault and how offensive is it? And what happens in the locker room?
Right.
It's different, right? I mean, what happens in the locker room is not everyday commonplace. It's not. And it makes me think of, my gosh, if you've not seen the Patriots documentary yet.
I have not.
It's fantastic. I think it came out in February. I binged it yesterday for a couple hours. It takes you deep. They interview everybody and they ask some tough questions. And the part that, well, all of it's fascinating to me. The rise of Tom Brady, he and Drew Bledsoe, the kind of rivalry between them. And then when Brady got hurt and Matt Castle came in, then Robert Kraft, how he bought the company with no money, the whole thing.
Right.
It's a fairy tale. Teddy Bruschi, Gronkowski, Edelman, Wes Walker, the list goes on and on and on. Aaron Hernandez, he came onto that team and they never really get into was he gay? There's a lot of rumors about that. The Netflix special touched on it, but they tell some stories from straight from the players' mouth, for guys who were in the locker room with Aaron Hernandez, that he was just a guy who was not right, but knew how to play the part. And when I watched video of that guy, the guy's a murderer, no doubt. I mean, I guess murderers get what they have coming. I think he was a troubled young man. And if you watch those videos, I'm going to go balls out here and say that man had some kind of charisma, man. And he was a football player of a very unique sort, a tight end who catch like a wide receiver and run like a running back, too strong for defensive end and too fast for safety. And what a brilliant talent and what a waste, just absolute waste. And he had a tough upbringing, and we can trace that all back there, but man, and then
Plenty of people with tough upbringing, don't go on and
absolutely.
I will say this, that very early on when the whole thing went down and there were rumors that, he had murdered these guys because like they were going to out him or that he was gay and that somehow, whatever those very early stories were. And I just remember thinking like, well, if that were true, if he were actually gay and, at that time, there's no way he could have kept his NFL career had he been outed. And I'm not in any way justifying murder or anything like that, obviously. I'm just saying I see how that kind of pressure leads someone to a really dark psychological place, which clearly he was in, because that entire, listen to those jailhouse phone calls, man. And that is not someone who is right in the head or the heart or anything.
Yeah. And, I mean, and thinking about this guy in the locker room and the way he interacted, I mean, Robert Kraft, right? One of the most respected figureheads of the NFL, right? I mean, he's Robert freaking
People want to
Kraft.
think that when you're going to know a monster when you meet one, and you don't.
And you know what Robert Kraft says? We love this kid like he was a son. And my God, he was a brilliant talent, brilliant talent. I mean, this guy was, imagine this, Rob Gronkowski out Bear Down, Arizona, and Aaron Hernandez were drafted the same year. And they were on either side. What is that formation called? 11 or 22?
12.
12.
The ending number would be a 2. So
okay, so 12. Imagine having both those guys. I mean, and you mentioned, this guy was so fucking talented that I think if he'd come out and said he was gay, it wouldn't have mattered, because Mike Sam was not the same talent that Aaron Hernandez is. Aaron Hernandez could play football, and he was
okay. But when Google the year for me when he was arrested, because I honestly think that you're very wrong about this.
About what?
About the fact that he could have kept his job.
Got you.
In the NFL.
I mean, I don't know that. I'm speculating. I'm just saying this is the talent.
If nothing else, because of just how mentally strained he was from then, right? Without actually being outed, without, really the world finding out what was going on, he was willing to murder people. We're actually teasing for a topic that we'll dive a lot deeper into.
Yeah, there's so much to say. I mean,
in the week coming up, we'll get into it a little bit further.
We go balls out. You can find our podcast at Twitter.
Where can the people find us?
Look us up on X, the X platform, at Balls Out Takes. It's pretty clever. Balls Out Takes, Quitter, Sitter, Bitter, Balls Out Takes, or Balls Out Takes. I like Balls Out Takes, but whatever. At Shane Wickes on Instagram, and at Ophny Esca.
And Twitter,
YouTube.
All the things.
Yes, at Balls Out Takes, and YouTube. Balls Out Pod. Good luck to Stanford baseball and softball.
Stanford baseball, softball.
Yeah. Fear the Tree. Softball today at 2 p.m. versus Cal State Fullerton. And remember that the men play Tuesday at 10 a.m. in Stanford versus AS.
And let's go Giants.
Let's
see
go
if
Giants.
they can get the sweep.
Get the sweep today. And we will see you next time on
Balls Out.
We're out.
We out.